Hey, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today we have a Yamaha P-220 Optimum Mass straight tone arm semi-automatic turntable. This is definitely an 80s model. You can tell by the heavy use of plastics and the small platter and the straight tone arm. Definitely, I would say mid-80s, I'm gonna say. You can check that out on Vinyl Engine. This one's just come in for a basic service. I have never worked on a P-220 before, so like I always said, my goal on this channel is to try to document as many different models as possible. That way if somebody's looking to service a turntable, hopefully it's here. As to who manufactured this, I have no idea. Maybe this is a in-house Yamaha build. It's not one of the 1970s Yamahas that was manufactured by CEC. It looks different, but that doesn't mean that it's not a CEC. They continue to manufacture turntables well into the 80s as well. The first thing we want to do here today is just going to pull off this dust cover and just give this thing a basic once over. I mentioned it's a belt drive, has a very flat looking platter mat and your typical kind of cheap aluminum platter that we had in the 80s. Nothing special, a little bit ringy. So we got a motor over here and spindle here. What else? I have no idea what kind of cartridge this is. Let's have a quick look at it. Well, this is interesting. Does it come off or not? Or is it just because it's stuck on there after all these years? Okay, I'm not going to force it. Doesn't seem to want to come out, but it is the kind that you remove this little screw and it should pull out. It is moving. Yeah, it's definitely moving. I'll work on that a little bit. Maybe it needs just a little bit of prying, but I don't want to pry at it with a screwdriver or anything like that. I don't want to damage it. The cartridge is completely alien to me. Maybe it's an Audio-Technica AT10. I really don't know. Well, hopefully I can get that off and we get a peek at that later. Just to check some of the functions here. It should have auto return. That's working. Queuing is good and slow. Let's see our cut function here. That works. Very good. This turntable has a different kind of counterweight system. It is controlled by this weight that goes in and out here. And what you do is you basically screw this in and out. Then you balance your arm, and then you set your counter force on it. So we'll set that up later. And standard anti-skating. Nothing particularly special about this one. So I guess what we'll do is, considering we don't have a speed pot on this, we're going to check speed. In these two screw holes here, we have our fine adjustment pots. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hit them with a little bit of contact cleaner. And provided they're there, are they even there? Why doesn't this thing ever work? Here we go. Oh, they're not there. So they've got this marked 4 and 3, obviously for 45 and 33, but there's absolutely nothing under there. So perhaps a better model has speed control. There has to be some. Oh, maybe they're over here. I'm seeing two pots right over here, there, and they're very close to the motor. So let's hit these with a little bit of contact cleaner. just like that. And we'll just let that sit, because we're going to open it up, and then we'll adjust speed a little bit later. But in the meantime, let's start our service. Just put our dust cover back on so we can flip her over and see what we're dealing with. Okay, got a few screws here. And just so you know, I have had to charge my IKEA screwdriver. I've charged it once now. I said I was going to tell you when I finally had to charge it, so there you go. I had to charge it once. And actually, although you're seeing this video in sequence, videos have been released once a week pretty much. I haven't actually filmed a video in well over a month. I had a slew of turntables that came in, and I got them all done. And I just I store my videos on my server, and then on a Friday morning or Saturday morning, I upload it to YouTube. But it's been very quiet. I find in the summertime I get a lot less work. It just seems like people are outside enjoying the heat and probably not worrying about their records as much. So, and then in the fall time, you start to pick up quite a bit again as people go indoors and start listening to more music. So, okay, I think that's all we have here. Got a solid metal base plate, nice and heavy. That gives a turntable a lot of weight. Let's have a look-see here. So yes, I was correct. There are 2 pitch controls, and there must be a model with these are those 2 holes I was talking about here. So there must be a model where the this motor board is maybe mounted over here on a different model. So yeah, so we've hit those. This is different. I've never seen a spring around the spindle like that before. Very strange. And what are we going to do first here? I think what we're going to do first is we're going to check this arm, just because it looks like one of those tables where the plastic is mounted to the metal arm, but I don't see a metal screw there, so I think we're good. And yeah, there's not much going on there. There's not even any lubrication over there except for this one spot here. And that looks a little bit dodgy. I think we'll clean that. And right here, there's a little bit of a sticky looking lube. I'm not liking the look of that. So we'll just clean that with a little bit of alcohol. I have no idea what that squeaky sound is. Just clean under here. There. I've never really understood the need for grease when you got, plastic on plastic. There's very little chance of that seizing up. Where we see the problems is grease on metal, and grease that gets old and sticky. But we'll put it back. Just a little bit of all-purpose grease. And swing our arm back. There we go. Oh, nice. Oh, and I see something else here that's come off. Is that from us playing with it? Just a piece of masking tape here. I must have been covering these wires. Get rid of that. If you want to put that back, you can just grab some electrical tape. And that's just to keep the wires from getting tangled up in something. So you just grab some electrical tape and just tape that down. Like that. Don't know why they would use masking tape. Everything else on this table looks really, really good. Let's service the main bearing and see what we got in there. Let's zoom a little bit too. So we got a plastic bearing well here. I don't know if it has a metal sleeve or not. Does have a metal sleeve. It's got a little clip here as well that holds the spindle from popping out. So I just want to remove that first, just like that. It just slides over that E-clip, just like that, and then it goes back down there. And this actually feels really good. Nice and smooth already. Nothing wrong with that. Let's have a look. Is there a ball bearing? There's no ball bearing. It's got a rounded end on it. Smells okay. There's no discoloration. But we're here to service it. And that's what we're going to do. Okay. So let's just use the other end of that Q-tip. Clean out our bearing well. It's quite a bit of oil in here. This one was well lubricated. Maybe somebody had put some oil in there. Maybe this table had been serviced in the past, which would be a rarity. Because I would say that 90% of the turntables that I service have never been touched since they left the factory. I'm thinking someone had serviced this because there's quite a bit of oil here. If you look here. So I'm thinking someone serviced it and probably put in, you know, a little bit more lube. And it overflowed a little bit. So this one probably didn't need the full bearing service, but I cannot in good conscience let it go without it being serviced. So I am going to use a very light oil on this one because what came out of there was pretty light as well, and you don't need a lot. This bearing is very tight tolerance. I'm just going to put a little bit around the spindle and 2 or 3 drops down the well, and that is it. Let's just work it down first. And there we go. Alright, so this goes back in. Just pull this out a little bit here. Just like that. There we go. Service bearing. Put it back. Definitely a sign of 80s cost cutting. Other than that, there's really nothing to do down here. Queuing cut. Here's our speed switch. It looks pretty sealed, but why don't we have a look at it anyway? Can you guys see that? You cannot see that. Let's zoom out. I'm just working in the front corner here. I even need to take that out. All right, we got a little hole here, so we can give that a little shot of our cleaner. I've put a super extension on my spray nozzle here, just because, yeah, that's ridiculous. I was working on a receiver, and I was trying to clean some pots, and it was a real nasty one to get at, so I extended that. And how you do that, if you do want to know how to extend those, nice and easy, just get some shrink tube and join your two tubes together, and that'll form a perfect seal, and you got a super long extension. So we'll just give it a little shot here, and the speed switch, if this will calm down. There we go. Put that back and forth. And go back down. Again, grease over here. Is this necessary? Absolutely not. The factory just slops it all over the place. Ground here, that's kind of chintzy. Did you see this? It's just sitting like that. That grounds the main bearing and this plate here. All it is a little wire, and it's just shoved through this hole. I don't like that one bit. Okay, we're gonna take care of that. What else we got here? That's our cut. That's our queuing. There's absolutely no lubrication on those points, which makes no sense whatsoever. Why would you put lube here and not lubricate these arms? There's a little bit of lubrication on the auto return cam. Again, plastic on plastic. There's no lubrication in this point here. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. This should have a ring on it, and it should be screwed to one of these terminals. So what we're going to do is, so just let me get a pause here, because this is the chintziest thing I've ever seen. You drill a hole there and then you shove a peg through there. That is absolutely stupid. So I'm just going to put a ring connector on this, and then we will attach it there. I'll be back in 1 second. Welcome back. Okay, so what I've done is I've just taken that that pin connector and I just shoved it into the back of a new connector here, and we're just going to put it under that screw and get a good solid ground. So that's soldered, and yeah, that was really bad. So I'll just do that. We'll get a better ground connection now. There. See? Solid. Not interfering with anything. We haven't changed, you know, the design specs or anything. This is stupid. And now we've got this solidly connected. Good ring connector. Good to go. All right, so I think we're done under here. We'll do the motor from up top. What else we got here? Huh. I just noticed something. This doesn't look original. At least it doesn't seem original. I wonder if these are the original cables. The RCA cables look a little bit dodgy to me. Maybe that's why that came off. I mean, they're properly done. They're well soldered. But this is a dead giveaway here. There's no way that this is factory. So oh my God, what is this? Another ground connection here. What have they done? Oh, have they done an internal ground? They have done an internal ground. This must be the old ground cable. Yeah, somebody's been in here before. Somebody's obviously serviced this thing and done the ground mod on it. I hate internal grounds. Seriously, people. So, oh yeah. Check this out. This was the old RCA cable here. You can tell because it has the strain relief for it, and the right and left channels have been hacked off on both sides of this. Now the original ground still is attached. So what are you grounding? This is, let's zoom in a little bit here. All right, so we have a little bit of a mess in the audio side on this one. Well, so much for this tape. Careful when you remove these, you might rip these wires right to shreds. Maybe that ground over here, maybe that wasn't factory. Maybe somebody's messed with this. Okay, this is grounded. So we're coming over here to this point. Is this carrying a ground? No, that's carrying wires for off. That's grounding our motor. This is grounding audio. Are they still? They're not doing an internal ground. They're still using an external here. But this wire here should be going somewhere. So we have a wire here that should be grounding the chassis. Okay, I'm going to see if there's a service manual for this thing, and if there's a wiring diagram, I shall be right back. Hey, welcome back. Well, it's nothing like a service manual. So, this grounds the bottom cover. Where does it ground it? Through another stupid little chintzy hole drilled in the bottom of the cover here. So basically what you do is you grab this ground cable and you put it through this hole when you're reinstalling it. And just like, I can't see right now, but anyway, and just like the other one that we fixed over here, it goes through a chintzy little hole. So that's obviously the way this unit was designed. But I have plugged it in, and this ground cable that is attached to it, this messy thing here, which I'm going to clean up for the owner, it does ground the tone arm, so the buzz does go away when you plug that in. So the only thing to do and to remember is to plug this in through the bottom of the bottom plate. Let's not forget that either while we're at it. So really, there's not anything else to do on the bottom of this turntable. I would consider this one serviced. All right, so let me put let me put the bottom back on. I'm going to put this wire through that and make sure it's solid. This is really chintzy. I mean, this could loosen over time, and then you know the whole thing's not grounded. Anyway, let me do that, and I'll be right back, and we'll service the top end. Managed to get that cartridge off. It is completely unmarked. It has no branding on it whatsoever. I actually removed it and reset it in the head shell here. The needle has no markings other than the words HOL. Maybe Holland? No idea. Is it a Phillips? I have no clue. It's really ugly though. Big and ugly. No idea. But the needle seems to have quite a bit of life left on it, so we just gave it a good cleaning, and we're going to reinstall it. So yeah, it was just it was a bit tricky to take off. It probably hasn't been off in ages. Just put the screw on here, and what we're going to do now, we are going to oil our motor. So get your electric motor oil, and your spindle's right here, and you're going to put a drop of oil. This is just a standard electric motor oil. Just put a drop underneath the spindle on the top bearing of the motor. One drop. That's it. Okay, and then you can plug it in and turn it on, and it'll wick its way down. See the motor spinning there. It's nice and quiet, which is good. And while that's spinning, get a Q-tip. A little bit of alcohol in the Q-tip, and clean the spindle. Just rub it back and forth, and I'll show you what comes off of there. It's mostly belt residue. That was a perfectly clean Q-tip. Pardon me. So just keep cleaning this. You want it nice and clean. This one's really dirty. There we go. Look at that, eh? That all adds up to, you know, belt slippage and all the rest of it. So get that nice and clean. All right, and we're going to inspect our belt. It felt kind of new when I pulled it off. Just around the platter there, and it is in good shape, I have to say. Looks relatively new. It's not shiny at all, but we're also just going to give this a quick wipe. I like to get any kind of contaminants off the belt, so just give it a wipe. That's not dirt, that's just a little bit of rubber coming off. And with the clean part of your paper towel, grab your platter and clean where the belt rides. So all the surfaces where the belt rides, the motor, the pulley, and the platter here will all be clean. Okay, so a little bit of dirt came off of there too. And I think we're done our basic service. We're going to leave that plugged in. We're going to install our belt, and we're going to check our speed. Because this turntable does not have a strobe, and it has absolutely no user adjustable controls for adjusting speed. Okay, so the service manual said that the speed has to be adjusted through the two holes. They said they were accessible, but they don't look very accessible to me. Where the hell were they? They're over here. Well, that's no good. That's not accessible. That's a pain in the ass. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a process. I mean, I could take the bottom off and put this thing on a little bit of a stand and do it from underneath, but I don't feel like taking all the screws out again, so I'll just do it I'll check speed, adjust, check speed again. I'm going to do it like that. I'm not going to do it on camera. I'm just going to show you, first of all, what kind of speed we've got here. Let me get my big strobe disc. Okay, the big strobe disc on. Outside is 33, inside is 45, and let's have a look-see here. Queuing up. All right, so here's our 33. It looks very good. It's just a smidge fast, because once you put the platter down a record and drop the needle, depending if this needle tracks at 2 grams, that'll shift back a little bit. So that is good. 45 is also, well, it's just a smidge slow. So let me play with this a little bit. I'm going to basically lift the platter, adjust, put it down with the belt back on. It's going to be a pain in the butt. I'm going to get these where I want them, and then we'll do a sound test. Actually, you know what? We won't do a sound test. We're going to set up the arm, because this one's a little bit different. Okay, so we're going to adjust our tracking force. This is a little bit different than, I mean, it's similar, but it's a little bit different because it's got this sliding weight here. Put your anti-skate to 0, and it's going to be like any other tone arm. What you're going to want to do is we're going to want to achieve a balanced arm, so complete weightlessness, by moving the far back knob. Can you guys see that? No, of course you can't. So there's 2 knobs here. The front one spins with the numbers on it. The back one moves the big weight back and forth, right? So if you screw it inwards, it's going to get heavy. Screw it outwards, it's going to get lighter. So what we're trying to do is get perfect balance here. And let's see, that's about there. Yeah, right about there, okay? So once you achieve perfect balance, you want to hold, actually put your arm back, hold the weight and turn the numbers, so we got 0 showing here. And now we're going to turn this forward to 2 grams, because I haven't got a clue what this cartridge tracks at, so let's go with 2 grams. Now, let's see how accurate that was with our digital scale. Not bad. 210. I have seen worse. Let me just move that a little bit there. Yeah, that's better. Not bad. 209, 210. That's not too bad. So pretty good. So I'm just gonna get this right to 2. Just by lightening it a little bit there. I did absolutely nothing. All right, I'm good with that. Okay, so now we've got that all set up. We're going to turn our anti-skating to the same value as our tracking force. So we'll adjust that to 2. And this turntable is now done. So now we can do a sound test. Okay. Power. I did get the speed adjusted where I wanted it, by the way. Took a little while back and forth pulling the belt up. It wasn't too bad because it wasn't that far off, so it's good to know that speed is good and stable on it. All right, let's grab something here. Real quick, just want to make sure we've got no hum whatsoever. This is semi-automatic, so we've got to put queuing up. Oh, I didn't hook up the ground cable. Hang on. There, so you definitely heard that, eh? That the ground works. So. And I'm not getting any buzz when I touch the metallic parts like the arm or the center spindle. So that means they're grounded properly. Whoa, that's really loud. Sorry. Hearts, backs are cheap and wings are nearly. I'd make you wear me like a scar. Not a lot of high frequency sound. I just had a gentleman come to the door to pick up a turntable, so yeah, the only thing I wanted to test was the auto return. There's an adjustment for the auto return. You can't see it right now because the arm's there, but it seems okay. There's a screw right here that adjusts the auto return point. So, all right, this one's done. Not a bad table. The top's not like a cheap plastic. It feels substantial. Definitely like a noise canceling type material. It's pretty springy, but nothing special as far as, you know, features or build quality. I think it's decent. Like I mentioned, the ground connections were chintzy as hell on this. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a sign of 80s cost cutting. But anyway, thanks for tuning in again. We will catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.